that happened in our life. We moved to this, I've told you this story before. We moved to this place called Pleasant Hills in Pittsburgh by the Century 3 Mall. And about the first week we were there, we go to this neighborhood picnic, okay? And we have this friend. And, well, he's a friend now, but we didn't know him at the time. And he's walks up, and you can tell he's used to being the center of attention. And he's very sure of himself. And someone had told them that I used to be in athletics and knew some things about athletics. So he started talking to me about athletics. And then, I can't remember, but somehow God or Jesus came up, the name. Bing! He was gone. Ooh, okay. And I remember Jan and I came home from that picnic as we were praying for our neighborhood and thinking about maybe someday starting a Bible study if the Lord chose to do that. Thinking, if we actually said this, I got to admit to you, oh man, there's no way that guy, he'll never be a Christian. Well, long story short, about 3 or 4 years later, he's a Christian. It was nothing we did. The Lord got a hold of him in different ways, and he studies the scriptures and those sorts of things. But God has to continually remind me of this scripture, is that he draws people to himself. Now, does that give you pause, saying to yourself, well, why do I pray? And those sorts of things. Well, keep reading. There's the responsibility then of the person in verse 47. God draws people, but look, most assuredly I say to you, he who takes the step, you have to believe, you have to trust, you have to give over the reins of your life, then has everlasting life. Sometimes we come into church and we sing songs, and the kids do cute coloring books, and they are cute and wonderful, and they know scripture because of it. And maybe you think of Bible stories, and you think, well, okay, that's kind of a nice life. But really, when it comes down to it, as we prayed about things today, I was thinking this. It's about life and death. Life and death. It's very serious in one respect. Because many people are out there and they're rejecting this message. They're seeing it, they're faced with it, and they're just walking away. Let's go back to the manna. You could come every morning and scoop and take. But if you didn't, what were you doing? If you didn't scoop and you didn't pick up, what were you doing? You were trampling on it. And lots of people do that. They're faced with the message and they don't care. They walk through life, walk right over it, trample it. They just ignore. Let's keep going. Your fathers ate the manna, in verse 49, in the wilderness and are dead. In other words, that was not the complete picture. It was a symbol. It was symbolic, but it doesn't give life, that bread. Not real life. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that one may eat of it and not die. And now here you go. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, listen, he'll live forever. And the bread that I shall give is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world. Oh boy. Now this really freaks them out. How could we eat your flesh, they're going to say. The Jews therefore quarreled among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? And then Jesus said to them, most assuredly I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. That's unequivocal, isn't it? You don't do this, what I'm talking about, you're dead. For my flesh is food indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood, now check this out, abides in me, and I in him. Get this. Please get this. There's this relationship that Christ wants with you. It's where you abide in him, and check this out. Check this out. Don't miss this part. He abides in you. Turn over to John 14:20. It's rather astounding, although it's just a few words.